in the past few months, something almost evil has been going on the Simply Vanilla Anarchy server. There has been a war being fought, but this war wasn't fought with swords and crystals. This war was fought with manipulation, words, and ideas. It was a psychological warfare. A few months ago, huge groups started falling. Just the bases were getting griefed and nobody knew how. What was going on? Theories started coming out about world downloads, heat mapping and other exploits being used. Players were literally too scared to use their nether site because they thought they were getting tracked. And players actually started thinking about quitting the server because it was just unplayable with all these exploits going on. When a few days ago the SS base got griefed, I think it reached a breaking point for a lot of people because the Discord was going crazy. I made a video about it and people were actually leaving the server. And I think it might have been a breaking point for the griefers as well, because the next day Deus, who seems to be the leader or at least the representative for this group, reached out to me. He told me that it was time to expose the truth about what was going on in the last few months. And why now? Because it was going too far. He didn't want players actually leaving the server because of this. Well, I think it's time we expose the truth now about what's been going on. Today's statement starts like this. Before a few months, some of my friends started a project that I don't want to dive too deep in, which involved a world download. In fact, I had nothing to do with it, but I had a wonderful idea instead after some of the information got through to the mods and public. We would start raiding some bases that we'd bought codes of, and claimed doing it with heat maps and world downloads. During the same time, I spread the info and warned the whole server about this exploit. I even went so far that I had it out to some people to leak the info to the mods and admins, which got many people banned for a certain time until the case is cleared. This helped making the story even more believable. Followed by me having a public talk with Butte, the owner of Simply Vanilla, about it in a VC in front of many people, where he even said that it's a legal act to do what we claimed. This was to make people even more afraid, as for no one could punish us for it. The result was people not wanting to even touch their nether site ever again, being afraid of raids, and furthermore, the best part, potential rats started snitching out, one court after the other. We told them we would find the bases anyway, it's just that they could make it a bit easier for us and make good profit while doing it. And then Deus and his people would cover it up saying that they are using exploits, so no one would expect a rat. Rats felt safe with us and showed their true faces. All the bases that got raided by us were solely because of snitching and betrayal. With this act, we proved how untrustworthy all these teams are. We didn't even make profits out of it. We just had our fun and rampaged on the server. That's it. But most importantly, we have shown that all these teams, no matter how big or trustful they seem, they're all filled with rats. I won't leak any rats' names. This would be completely up to Halo, since he is the one who made most negotiations. Dupas snitched on himself already after finding out we would make the story public. The others can decide if they want to make it public or not, but trust me, there are snitches which you would never believe. We can raid bases any day, anytime, and no one would ever figure out how. Every team that got raided by us. Better check your team and think again. I decided from the beginning to run this project as long as it won't escalate and make people leave the server. And now I feel like it's time to uncover it all. It was all a big plan that we ran for almost 2 months. To fuck up many bases and prove the stupidity and untrustworthy behavior in literally every single team of the server. And now the public can know about it. And while rats know who they are, the others can have fun finding out. Now, before I give my opinion or talk any further about this statement, I want you to know that we will probably never know if this is actually the truth. But let's just think about it logically. It most likely is, right? If there was an actual game-breaking exploit being used, there would have been way more bases being found, and solo bases, and there would be way more damage. But it makes sense. Looking back on all that happened, this makes way more sense than a game-breaking exploit. And now, okay, let's reflect on this, okay? Don't start saying, oh, I knew it already. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Nobody didn't. You might, in the last few weeks, because a lot of information has been coming out, have started suspecting it, but just be man enough to admit that for a long while you were manipulated by Deus and his people, and so was I, of course. It's not until I started talking and digging deeper into this that I started suspecting that it was way more than a exploit being used. And the more I talked to people, the more everyone started thinking like, okay, they're probably just buying the courts, right? And then people started thinking that it was both. They were doing both. They were using exploits and buying courts. Which, thinking back on, it doesn't make sense at all, right? Like, why would I buy courts if they have an exploit? Now, looking back on it, it's stupid. And probably the rats that sold out their group because of this also feel very, very stupid for doing it. And I just want to say, if you are a rat out there, you betrayed the trust of your group. I think you should leave your group and just start your own one and just admit that it was you. Just be honest. And of course, nobody has the balls to do that shit. I gotta give huge props to Dupas for coming out like that and telling everyone that he was the one leaking SS base courts. But there are probably some people watching right now that are rats. Come out, do it. If you don't want to do it in the Discord, I can break your story in a vanilla drama episode. So yeah, no, I'm serious, do it. So I suppose Deus and his team took a W for this war. And they succeeded to convince like most of the public for a very long time that they were actually using these exploits. So I asked Deus how many bases were griefed using this method. And Deus said that he can't give a straight answer because there are many ban evading people in the groups he griefed, which he doesn't want to fuck up further, and some other of the bases resulted in becoming his allies, so they want to keep it secret for now. Also, a few other bases that are inactive now, like Puzu's solo base, so they don't feel the urge to mention it. To put an estimate though, it's probably around 10 big bases, including Oni, NK, I think that stands for Nether Knights, Camp Winter, Oga, SS, and Yokai. Well, now that you guys know what's been going on this entire time, it's time to ask Deus some more in-depth questions about this all.